Go for it.
All right, welcome to the CanMonkey podcast show. Today I have a special guest. If you've been to any of the conferences around the VRMA, you will see this guy's smiling face. He's one of my favorites, and if you haven't known him, you're going to get to know him a little bit more today on our show. Without further ado, Frank, please introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and how you help people in our industry.
Yeah, a little trifecta right there. Yeah, so I'm Frank Bosi. I'm the Senior Director of Partnerships here at Hostfully. I've been with the company for almost 6 years now. Before Hostfully, my background was mainly in the luxury hotel industry. And that's where I learned early on that ultimately great hospitality isn't like about working hard. It's about having like the right systems in place, the clear standards, the consistent guest experience. Because what happened was during COVID, I got laid off in the industry. And that's where I found Hostfully. So when I moved into the short-term rental world, I was immediately drawn to like the creativity and even like the ownerships that that hosts have for their businesses. So I also noticed, a lot of operators were doing everything manual, carrying way more stress than they really needed to. And that's again where my passion comes from. And you hear me on a few of these podcasts, I always bring about, bringing hospitality back to the hospitality industry and just ultimately just helping hosts bring this like hotel level operations into short-term rentals without losing, the personality, your brand, your flexibility, your heart, what initially got you into this industry. That really makes the industry so special, in my opinion. That's the professional side of Frank. On a personal level, I mean, I'm very family and faith driven and focused. I've been married for 13 years. I have two amazing kids. Time is everything to me. And, we've spoken about this at conferences all the time. I'm also really big into fitness. I do CrossFit, which is basically my therapy. Mm-hmm. But starting my day off, I just naturally, I start my day at 5 a.m. And it's just right off the bat, as soon as my feet hit the ground, I just think a lot about balance and sustainability and, just long-term performance, both personally and professionally. So just that mindset, starting my day is how I show up in this space. And I just genuinely love connecting with, operators at every stage, people in the industry where I can learn from them and constantly learning and helping property managers just realize that building like a scalable professional short-term rental business doesn't have to come at the cost of their lifestyle. You can still spend time with your family. You can still vacation. You can still go to the gym in the middle of the day if you want to. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where Hostfully comes in. So that's who I am. What was the next one, Alex? What do I do?
Well, yeah, and what do you do? Yeah, what do you do? And what do you do for Hostfully? So you've already kind of talked about, but what again? Like maybe elaborate a little bit more on Hostfully. And again, like I love having these conversations because I didn't even know you came from the hotel world. So I'm already having all these ideas. Like, how are you bringing the hotel world and what you learn into this space to help people at Hostfully now? So how can you kind of bring that together?
Yeah. So again, I've been with Hostfully for almost 6 years now, which in tech years feels like about 20.
Yeah, it's dog years.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was in the luxury hotel industry, I was guest service, I was front desk, but a majority of my time in the luxury hotel industry was in sales, corporate sales, leisure sales, and then I also started with like wholesale. And I was doing all three when I got laid off.
Got it.
But the hotel industry, I worked for the Trump Hotel Collection, the W, the Westin,
wow.
Marriott Luxury Hotel Collection, Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I love it and I miss it.
You're high end. Yeah, you're like high end.
Yeah, like that's why I'm like luxury hotel.
Yes.
Hotels. But still, like even just those pillars, just anticipating guest needs or, just having a guest experience focus. And what happened with my luxury hotel side and being with sales, like what was it, like 10 years or so? I was in that industry, those sales skills were transferable. So that's how I got the job with Hostfully as an account executive. From account executive, I became a director of business development, which I led a team of account executives. And I did that for, again, like I said, a majority of my time was in sales. So I've been on the front lines, talking to hosts, property managers, hearing their pain points, their objections, and like what actually really just gets them to take action. And that sales background really shaped how I approach my current role in partnerships, which I started a little bit, I would say this time last year, but it was more like December of 24. And that's a new role within Hostfully. So David and Margot and Pedro, they approached me and they were like, hey, listen, we have this idea. Are you willing to do it? And today, I took that opportunity. It's been a little over a year now, and I work really closely with influencers, thought leaders, coaches, property managers, as well as our integration partners, really just across the short-term rental industry. And now my job is to build real relationships and just create this win-win collaboration, whether that's, via podcasts or webinars, events, co-marketing initiatives. And with all of those, kind of just helping educate the industry while at the same time driving real business results. And a big part of my role is gaining visibility for Hostfully, hence the shirt.
Exactly.
And I do that through podcasts like these, through
Mm-hmm.
webinars.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't just stop at awareness. Like it would be great if I just did this every single day, which I do. But I'm also very focused on generating qualified leads as well as revenue for our sales team. So everything we do in partnerships is intentional. It is to educate, provide value, and ultimately help operators take that next step. But in many ways, I also see myself and my role as a bridge between our sales department and our marketing. And I understand what sales needs because I've lived it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a really good understanding of brand and education because that's how trust is built in the industry, and not just in the industry, in hospitality. It's going back to true partnerships and relationships. And, again, partnerships just sits right in the middle of that. And when it's done well, everybody wins, the partner, the host, and the business. It's kind of this nice little roundabout that we have going on with
It,
partnerships.
sound, it sounds like it. Can you give an example, like an operator comes to you or a property management company with like, how is it looked at? I mean, I'm sure someone with 5 properties and someone with 50 properties, it's going to be a different scenario, right? So like you said before, you're kind of listening to the pain points, kind of listen to what they're kind of saying to you, plus your knowledge of what you've already done the last 6 years, maybe plus the things that you did in the luxury. Like, so what are you not bringing to the table, but what are you kind of providing to them that maybe they don't know that are some of these, tidbits that you're helping?
Yeah, I mean, every conversation is different, and especially conversations are very different between a property manager that has one listing and a property manager that has 100 listings. Most of the short-term rental operators don't necessarily have a hosting problem. They have like a systems problem. So if we get property managers with a handful of listings, most of the time we're the first property management software that they're ever going to use.
Interesting.
So we want to kind of set the foundation there and scale with them. And then the individuals that come in that have, 40, 50, 100 listings, those are the ones that are currently with the property management software that, again, the systems problem. So their current property management software isn't offering them what they need. And I always bring this up as well, is there is not one property management software that is perfect for every single property manager. So I always say, do your due diligence, take a look at all the different systems that are out there, see what channels they connect with, see which softwares that they integrate with. Because again, short-term rental property managers are in this industry for hospitality. They're great at hospitality. They have this want to be hospitable and to ensure a guest experience is top notch. But sometimes, they're buried in the manual work and the repetitive tasks and the constant interruptions. And again, that's where Hostfully comes in. We have a bunch of features and capabilities that assist with that approach. But again, the conversations are different every single day.
Of course. You really sound like a consultant almost, like you're really consulting with their business and kind of seeing how you can help them grow their business or, put better systems in place. And
Yeah, and
then,
I think that's, sorry, Alex, go for it.
no, keep going. No, keep going.
No, and I think that's what really sets Hostfully apart from the other softwares in the industry is, yes, we do demos. Yes, we show our features, our capabilities, our reporting functions, our CRM, we pride ourselves on our UI and our customer service and our onboarding. But what sets us apart is we have a conversation on that demo. And the conversation, like you said, is, again, not all account executives are like that because their main thing is demo an account, tell them about our software. But now with my role as partnerships, usually the leads that I get from those are from podcasts such as this. They're from webinars. They're from, just conversations that are taking place publicly. So the interest to learn more about Hostfully is there, but there's also an interest to learn, like, hey, let me talk to Frank about what works. So my conversations tend to be, more consulting, more conversational. And then, of course, I do show the features and capabilities because, we want them to see Hostfully as their preferred property management software.
No, absolutely. And it really is important, especially from that consulting side of it, because again, like you're not really recreating the wheel. You're going to be asking open-ended questions. You're going to be asking questions that are going to kind of give you a good understanding of what they're doing, painting a good picture. And then in your mind, you're probably saying, oh, that reminds me of this, and I'm going to, this would help you for X, Y, Z. So again, you probably have seen it all. And especially in your position with the partnerships, you see all these different partnerships that are out there. And again, like we go to these different VR vacation rental management associations. We go to these different conferences. So we do see all these partnerships, but I always am surprised myself how many people out there don't know all these other companies out there. And if they did know all these companies out there, it is very overwhelming. So you are really kind of not dumbing it down, but you're really kind of bringing it down to what they need to look at and what they should look at because you know what's important to them. And I think that's really big. So I know Hostfully kind of started with digital guidebooks, but now what you're saying is it's not really necessarily that. It's really all encompassing of a whole solution for these property managers, correct?
Yeah, and that's a huge focus for us in 2026 is, we started with the digital guidebook. It's where Hostfully started before we became a property management software. And for those of you that don't know about our guidebooks or don't know about guidebooks in general, those just answer guest questions before they're even asked. So the check-in info, the Wi-Fi, the house rules, your local recommendations. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that this can dramatically reduce your guest messages. We hear it all the time from hosts telling us that they finally stopped answering the same question 20 times a week. And that's a huge win. So yeah, we have the digital guidebooks. We also have our property management software, and we've become one of the top softwares in the industry, which is phenomenal. We just went through a round of funding, some money, so we can start building faster than we have initially. And with our property management software, this is all about automating bookings, your guest messaging, your tasks, your reporting. And with the right property management software, like Hostfully, you're basically streamlining your day-to-day operations. So you're not glued to your phone or your inbox all day. And then those are the top two, and those are the most, I guess, the longer features and offers and platforms that we offer. But now we recently released our smart devices. So it's Hostfully devices where we automate the entire check-in process from locks to safes, garage door openers, thermostats, pool sensors. So Hostfully devices has been a huge win on our end.
I didn't know that.
Received such great feedback from our users.
Can you go into that a little bit more? So how would that work? So you're meeting with someone that has a property. Are you sending them this information? Are you sending it to their house? Are you helping them set it up? Like, how's that work? That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Hostfully Hostfully devices integrates with over 200 integration, like locked devices. So ultimately what happens is Hostfully devices automatically generates a code. Let's say we're doing locks. It automatically generates a code, communicates it to the lock, communicates it to Hostfully, and then Hostfully with your guest communication and your automation will then communicate that lock code to the guest. So you can streamline and automate that entire process. And again, it's not just locks. We do, all the others that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Thermostats, I would say, are the top, maybe the second in the running that a lot of people use Hostfully devices for. Because if you have a smart thermostat, let's say you have a property in Arizona and it gets hot in the summer.
Yes.
So what we also automate is like that thermostat, 1 hour before the guest arrives, you can drop the air or increase the air to, let's say, like 60 degrees. That's the way they check in. It's nice, it's cool, and it's an awesome a first experience of what their stay is going to look like. And then, they'll stay with you. And then what we can also do is we can automate the air to go down, drop, or increase to 70 degrees.
Yes.
1 hour after the guest departs. This way, if you have 1 or 2 weeks in between reservations, let's be honest, the guest is not going to fix the thermostat temperature to accommodate you. So that automation in of itself is already saving you a ton of money on your utility bill, because now you don't have to worry about logging into your account, putting the AC back up to 70. This way you save a couple bucks while, in between reservations. So there's a lot of automation that you're able to do with Hostfully devices. And it's now native in our property management platform. So you control everything through Hostfully.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If someone's listening to this right now, and when should they throw their hand up and say, Frank, I need your help? We're in their business where they think maybe they think they have good systems and good processes, but when should they maybe still get another second opinion? Like where do you usually see people kind of teeter about that?
I think it's when the software you're using is not working for you and you're working for the software. Because a lot of people, they get a software and they think it's gonna, automate a ton of stuff, and then before you know it, now it's just extra work for them to manage that software. So I think I would always say, and again, it's not the same for everyone, but whether you have one listing or 100 listings, like even if we have a lot of users that don't have any listings, where their listing is going to go live in about a month. A lot of those individuals sign up for our property management software because they know that they're going to get all of their ducks in a row. Their skeleton is in place. Their foundation is strong before they even welcome a guest. I think what a biggest mistake a lot of people do is they wait until they have about 5, 6, 7 listings, and then they get a property management software. That's more daunting. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing. I'm not saying it's a mistake, but it's a lot easier to have a property management software as soon as you start, because we grow with you, we scale with you. So the more features and capabilities we offer, you're going to be able to utilize those and take advantage of those as you build your brand and as you build your operation. So I ultimately say, if you ever find that there's a gap in your day-to-day operations, and there are ways to simplify that. I mean, we are at the tip of the iceberg in the short-term rental industry, but there are a lot of software and automations that you can take advantage of. And Hostfully integrates with over 100 software. And so chances are, with our tech stack, you're able to simplify your day-to-day significantly. And really just, again, not focus on your software, but focus on why you started in this industry. You want guest experience, you want hospitality. You can focus on your guest and you could focus on scaling, because you're not necessarily having to spend so much time and energy on manual work anymore. We want to automate. We're there to automate everything for you.
I love it. Frank, this has been amazing. So if someone now is like, okay, no, you convinced me, you sold me, Frank, you're a great sales guy. Okay, how do they find you? How do they get in touch with you? What's the best way for someone now to reach out to you and say, hey, can you meet with me and help me with my systems?
Yeah, I mean, you could go to hostfully.com to do some more research about us. But if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I want to just talk to Frank, or hey, I want to book a demo, just email me, frank@hostfully.com. A super simple email, frank@hostfully.com. And we can either schedule a demo, we can schedule a 30-minute call. I'm always happy to talk about all things short-term rental and guest experience. So don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always happy to receive those emails.
Well, we appreciate, Frank, you coming on today and sharing Hostfully and all these new things I learned today about the devices you have, and about just being a consultant in general. I mean, you guys are way more than just a technology stack and a PMS. So it's great for me to even learn more.
And it also continues after you sign up. Like with Hostfully,
right.
We're known for our customer success and our service, and we're also known for our onboarding. So regardless of whether you have one listing or 1,000 listings, you are getting personalized one-on-one onboarding with a real-life onboarding manager. And like I said, we make sure your foundation is strong. We make sure your skeleton is in place, because once you go live, again, we're not leaving you to the wolves, also known as guests. We're leaving you, we have continued education. We have Hostfully University. We have webinars. We have a Facebook group. We have Hostfully Help, where we have articles with not only verbiage and step-by-step instructions, but videos and pictures. So the growth is constant. You just have to make sure you take advantage of it. But yeah, if you do want to learn more about Hostfully, again, it's simple. It's frank@hostfully.com.
Frank, thank you so much again. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you at the next conference.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Keep me posted.
We'll do. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Alex.